Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something that might make some of you cringe a little bit, LinkedIn networking.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're not going to hit you with the usual generic advice. We're going hyper-specific.
Right.
This deep dive is just for the introverts out there.
Yeah.
You know, that feeling, the pressure to be someone you're not, the dread of reaching out, overthinking every little thing.
Yeah.
It can be exhausting.
Exhausting. It's really interesting how our personalities shape how we approach something as simple as professional networking.
Yeah.
But the good news is you can totally make LinkedIn work with your introverted nature.
Yes.
Not against it.
That is the mission today.
Yeah.
To give you the tools and
Yeah.
maybe even some philosophical angles you might not expect to turn LinkedIn from a chore into a source of genuine connection.
I like that.
So let's unpack the common challenges.
Okay.
Starting with authenticity.
Right.
How do you sound genuine on LinkedIn without feeling like a corporate robot?
Oh, this is such a good one. Introverts often feel this pressure to adopt this really stiff, overly formal voice,
Oh, yeah.
thinking that's what professional sounds like.
Yeah.
But that can actually make you blend in with all the noise
Right.
instead of standing out.
Yeah, it's like we think we need to use all the buzzwords
Yeah.
and sound super polished, but it ends up feeling so inauthentic.
Exactly. Think about it this way. If you were talking to a trusted colleague,
Yeah.
would you use that same stiff corporate voice?
Probably not.
No. Your natural thoughtfulness and your concise communication style,
Yeah.
those are valuable assets on LinkedIn.
That's so true. I've definitely noticed some of the most engaging people on LinkedIn
Mm.
are the ones who just sound like themselves.
Absolutely.
Right.
And don't underestimate the power of relatable role models.
Oh, that's good.
Seek out people in your field who strike that balance between professionalism and genuineness.
Right.
Their approach can be so inspiring and show you that it is possible to be yourself
Yeah.
and still succeed.
So it's about finding your voice.
Yeah.
And then easing into it,
Exactly.
not trying to do everything at once.
Yeah, start small.
Yeah.
Maybe share an observation about your industry,
Okay.
an inspiring quote, or even just a question that's been on your mind.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just dip your toes in the water, find your rhythm.
Yeah. What if you commit to commenting on one post a day?
Yeah.
Starting with those from people in your industry,
Mhm.
you could focus on genuine appreciation
Yes.
or curiosity about something specific they shared.
You got it. It's about finding your comfort zone and gradually expanding it,
Yeah.
not forcing yourself to become someone you're not.
Okay, so you've started engaging authentically.
Okay.
Now, the next challenge for a lot of introverts, sending that first connection request or follow-up message,
Oh, yeah.
it feels like climbing Mount Everest.
The fear of outreach and rejection is real.
Yes.
But what if we look at it through the lens of Stoicism?
I'm intrigued.
The Stoics emphasize focusing on what you can control, your effort, not the outcome.
Right.
You can craft a thoughtful message,
Yeah.
but you can't control whether the person responds.
That's so helpful to think about it that way.
Yeah.
So instead of getting caught up in the what-ifs,
Right.
we focus on crafting genuine and relevant messages.
Absolutely.
But how do we make that outreach less intimidating?
Well, connection request templates can be your friend.
Okay.
Keep it simple and kind.
Yeah.
Something like, "Hi, name. I've been following your work in field and admire specific example. I'd love to connect and learn more about your journey."
Okay.
And remember, quality trumps quantity.
Right.
Focus on making a few meaningful connections
Yeah.
instead of sending out a ton of generic requests.
I get that, but doesn't that take even more effort? How do you find those quality connections without spending hours on LinkedIn?
Oh, LinkedIn search filters are a lifesaver here.
Yeah.
Instead of scrolling endlessly, use those filters to find people you actually want to connect with.
Okay.
You can search for alumni from your school, people in your city, or even people who work at specific companies you admire.
So instead of randomly connecting with anyone and everyone,
Yes.
you're strategically building your network,
Exactly.
sort of like tending a garden.
Yes. I love that analogy.
Right. You wouldn't just throw seeds everywhere and hope for the best.
Right.
You'd carefully choose the plants you want to grow and nurture them over time.
And that brings us to the next challenge.
Okay.
Overthinking.
Ah.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who spends way too long crafting the perfect message or response.
Oh, the analysis paralysis is real.
Oh, it is.
It's like every word has to be perfectly placed. And even then, we're not sure if it's good enough.
Exactly.
So how do we break free from this overthinking spiral?
Well, here's where a little Taoism comes in handy.
Okay, I'm listening.
The concept of wu-wei, effortless action.
Okay.
It can be incredibly liberating.
Yeah.
Instead of forcing things,
Okay.
try time boxing your replies.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Give yourself, say, 5 minutes to write a response. It might not be perfect,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Most people are just skimming messages anyway.
Time boxing. I love that. It just takes the pressure off trying to craft a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And honestly, a clear, thoughtful message, even if it's not perfectly worded,
Right.
is much better than radio silence.
Absolutely. Another tip to combat overthinking. Save templates for common responses.
Oh, that's smart.
Have a go-to message for thanking someone for connecting, for responding to inquiries, or even for politely declining requests that aren't a good fit.
That's brilliant. It's like a secret weapon against procrastination.
It is.
Instead of staring at a blank screen,
Right.
you can grab a template, personalize it, and hit send.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to streamline the process and make it feel less daunting.
Yeah.
And remember, even those seemingly effortless extroverts on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
they probably have their own set of tools and strategies.
Okay, we've talked about authenticity, initiating conversations, and overcoming overthinking.
Yeah.
But there's another big hurdle for a lot of introverts, networking fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
All the constant activity on LinkedIn can be so draining. It's like a never-ending social gathering. You can't escape.
It's so easy to get swept up in that pressure to be constantly on.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, you don't have to be.
Okay.
Think of it this way. You wouldn't spend all day every day at a networking event, right?
True.
You'd strategically choose the events that aligned with your goals and interests.
Right.
And you'd take breaks to recharge.
That's such a helpful analogy. It's all about setting boundaries and finding a rhythm that works for you.
Exactly. And this is where Aristotle's concept of the golden mean comes in.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Mm-hmm.
between excess and deficiency.
Okay.
In this case, finding the right amount of engagement that fuels your growth
Right.
without leading to burnout.
So how do we actually do that? How do we create that balance?
Think of LinkedIn like checking your email.
Okay.
Dedicate a specific time each day,
Yeah.
maybe 30 minutes or an hour,
Mm-hmm.
to focus on your LinkedIn activities.
Okay.
During that time, you can batch your activities. Writing posts, scheduling comments, sending connection requests,
Okay.
and then when that time is up, log off and reclaim your peace.
So it's not about being constantly on. It's
Right.
about being strategic and intentional.
Exactly. And this ties into another important aspect of LinkedIn,
Okay. What's that?
learning from extroverts.
Oh, okay.
They're masters at visibility
Yeah.
and building relationships quickly.
Okay, before we dive into that, I'm curious, how does learning from extroverts connect to the idea of long-term relationship building?
That's a great question.
Especially for us introverts.
Yeah.
It seems like those are two totally different things.
It might seem counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but observing how extroverts approach LinkedIn can actually give you valuable insights into nurturing connections over time.
Oh, okay.
They often excel at staying top of mind,
Mm-hmm.
which is key for building lasting relationships,
Right.
even if you prefer a slower pace.
That's interesting. So it's not about becoming an extrovert.
No.
It's about adapting some of their strengths to our own style.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between visibility and authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
between strategic engagement and genuine connection.
Yeah.
And that's something we can all learn from,
Okay.
regardless of our personality type.
I'm ready to learn from the masters. What are some key takeaways for us introverts?
First, think about their energy for engagement.
Okay.
Extroverts seem to have this boundless energy for commenting on tons of posts
Yeah.
and sending out connection requests.
Right.
Now, we don't have to match that level of intensity,
Right, of course not.
but we can adapt the principle of visibility.
Okay.
We can schedule small, consistent bursts of activity.
Okay.
Like commenting on a couple of posts a day or
Yeah.
sharing a thoughtful update once a week.
So instead of trying to keep up with their constant activity,
Right.
we can find a rhythm that feels sustainable for us.
Exactly. Another thing to observe is their fearlessness with outreach.
Oh, yeah. They just go for it.
They just go for it.
Yeah.
And while we may never be as comfortable with sending out cold connection requests,
Right.
we can practice being a little braver, a little less perfectionistic.
Yeah. It's like they don't see no as a rejection.
Right.
They just see it as part of the game.
Yeah.
It's about shifting our perspective and focusing on the long game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this leads into the next takeaway. Showing up regularly.
Okay.
Extroverts tend to post frequently.
Yeah.
And while we may not need to match their volume,
Right.
consistency is still key.
Okay.
We can find our own unique spotlight by sharing content that aligns with our strengths,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's sharing a thought-provoking article,
Okay.
offering a helpful resource,
Yeah.
or simply posing a question to our network.
So it's about adapting the habit,
Yeah,
not necessarily the frequency.
exactly.
Finding our own rhythm and showing up consistently, even if it's in smaller doses.
Exactly. And remember, introverts often excel at thoughtful contributions, and those can really stand out in a sea of noise.
Okay, so we've talked about energy outreach and consistency. What else can we learn from those social butterflies?
Their ability to build relationships quickly is impressive.
Yeah.
They're naturals at creating rapport, leaving enthusiastic comments, following up with messages, and making people feel comfortable.
Right.
We can learn from this by channeling our own brand of warmth and curiosity.
Okay.
Maybe we're not as outwardly expressive,
Yeah.
but we could still ask engaging questions,
Mm-hmm.
share thoughtful insights, and make an effort to nurture those connections over time.
So instead of trying to force ourselves to be someone we're not,
Yeah,
we can focus on building relationships in a way that feels authentic to us.
exactly. And this ties into another key strength of extroverts,
Okay.
their ability to celebrate others.
Yeah.
They're always the first to comment and share their connections posts,
Right.
making people feel seen and valued.
Mm-hmm.
And while we might not be as comfortable with public displays of enthusiasm, we can still be cheerleaders in our own way,
I like that.
endorsing someone's skills,
Okay.
leaving a thoughtful comment on their achievement, or simply sharing their work with our network.
Right.
These are all powerful ways to show support and strengthen relationships.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the importance of authenticity,
Yeah,
finding our voice,
right.
setting boundaries,
Absolutely.
and even learning from the extroverts among us.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm curious, where do we actually start?
That's a great question.
What are the very first steps an introvert should take when diving into the world of LinkedIn networking?
You're right. It can feel overwhelming. It's like, okay, I get the theory, but what do I actually do? Well, the first step is to define your why, your purpose.
Okay.
What are you hoping to gain from LinkedIn? Are you looking to learn? Build a support network. Find new opportunities.
Yeah.
Having that clear intention will guide your actions and help you stay focused.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So before we even start tweaking our profiles or sending connection requests,
Right.
we need to articulate what we hope to achieve.
Exactly. Once you have your why in mind,
Okay.
it's time to polish your profile.
Right.
This is your digital handshake, your first impression in the online world.
So we're talking a clear, friendly profile picture,
Mm-hmm.
a headline that accurately reflects what we do or aspire to do,
Yes.
and a well-written about section.
Absolutely. Don't underestimate the power of that about section.
Yeah.
Use it to share your journey and interest authentically
Mm-hmm.
in a conversational tone,
Okay.
as if you were speaking to one person.
That's a great tip. It takes the pressure off trying to sound super formal and professional.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, before you jump into action, take some time to observe.
Okay.
Instead of feeling like you need to post or comment right away,
Yeah.
spend some time exploring LinkedIn as a quiet observer.
So stalk those industry leaders and peers.
Exactly.
See what they're posting, how they're engaging, what kind of tone they're using.
Observe,
Yeah.
absorb,
Yeah.
and let those observations guide your own approach.
Okay, so we've defined our why,
Mhm.
polished our profiles,
Yeah.
and done our reconnaissance.
Okay.
Now it's time for action.
Right.
But we're starting small, right?
Absolutely. We're easing in with low-stakes engagements.
Okay, good.
Start by simply reacting to posts that genuinely resonate with you,
Mm-hmm.
or a simple emoji, can go a long way in showing support
Okay.
and getting on people's radar.
Okay, that feels manageable.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that we don't have to do everything all at once.
Right.
We can start small and build from there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once you're comfortable with reacting to posts,
Yeah.
graduate to leaving short, thoughtful comments,
Okay.
share your perspective,
Yeah.
ask a question,
Okay.
or simply express appreciation for the author's insights.
Okay, those are all good starting points,
Mhm.
but what about posting our own content?
Yes.
I know that can be a major hurdle for introverts.
It can be. But remember, even a small thought contributes to your professional story.
Mhm.
You don't need to write a novel.
Okay.
Just share something simple and authentic.
Yeah.
For example, you could say, I recently started exploring topic field and found resource really helpful. Curious if anyone else has insights on this.
Okay.
Or, I've been thinking about challenge in your field. Does anyone have advice on how they approach it?
Those are great examples. It's about dipping our toes into the content creation waters,
Yeah.
focusing on quality over quantity, and letting our authentic voices shine through.
Exactly.
But how do we make sure that content is actually reaching the right people?
That's where a little bit of strategy comes in.
Okay.
Think about who you want to connect with.
Mhm.
Are they recruiters, potential employers, thought leaders in your field?
Okay, so we need to be strategic about who we're trying to reach.
Exactly. Once you know your target audience,
Okay.
you can tailor your content accordingly. For example, if you're looking to connect with recruiters, make sure your profile highlights your key skills and accomplishments.
Right.
If you're hoping to get noticed by thought leaders, engage with their content and share your own insights on topics they care about.
So it's about being intentional with our content and
Yeah.
making sure it's aligned with our goals.
Precisely. And remember, the key to long-term success on LinkedIn is consistency.
Okay.
Set aside a specific time each day for your LinkedIn activities,
Okay.
even if it's just 15 minutes.
Okay.
Use that time to react to a few posts, comment on one post,
Yeah.
and maybe reach out to one new connection or message an existing one.
That's such a manageable plan. It's not about spending hours on LinkedIn.
Right.
It's about making those small, consistent efforts that add up over time.
And that's how we build a thriving LinkedIn garden.
Yes.
One authentic connection at a time.
Okay, we've explored some of the key challenges introverts face on LinkedIn and some strategies for overcoming them.
Huh.
Now, let's dive into a specific action
Okay.
that can make a big impact with minimal effort. Endorsing skills.
Right.
It might seem like a small gesture,
Yeah.
but it can go a long way in building goodwill and strengthening connections.
It's a great way to stay top of mind
Yeah.
and show appreciation without having to craft long messages.
So let's say you've recently connected with someone
Okay.
and you want to reinforce that new relationship. What's a good approach for endorsing skills without seeming insincere?
You could send a message like, "Hi, name. I notice we share a lot of common ground and field. I wanted to let you know I've endorsed your skills and specific skills. I've been really impressed with your posts about topic, and I'm looking forward to learning more from your updates."
Okay, so it's not just a random endorsement. It's tied to something specific you've observed about their work or their profile.
Exactly. It shows that you're paying attention and that your endorsement is genuine.
Now, what if you want to rekindle a connection with someone you haven't interacted with in a while?
Okay. Can you use endorsing skills as a conversation starter?
Absolutely. You could say something like, "Hi, name. I was just thinking about past collaboration shared experience, and it reminded me of your expertise and specific skills. I went ahead and endorsed those skills on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure seeing how you apply them in your work. Hope all is well."
It's like a gentle nudge to remind them that you're thinking of them
Yeah,
and that you value their skills.
that's precisely. And sometimes you might want to endorse skills without sending a message,
Oh, okay.
especially if you're just starting to build rapport with someone.
So you're not bombarding them with messages,
Right.
but you're still making a positive impression.
Exactly. But if they reach out to thank you for the endorsement,
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity to follow up with a personal message.
Right?
You could say, "I've always admired your work in specific field. Glad I could endorse your skills. Let me know if you ever want to chat about a topic."
That's a great way to turn a simple endorsement into a potential conversation starter.
Sure. Now, what if you want to proactively build goodwill with a recruiter or an industry leader? How can you use endorsing skills to make a good first impression?
You're right. It can feel a bit intimidating to reach out to someone you don't know,
Yeah.
especially if they're in a position of influence.
Right.
But endorsing skills can be a great way to break the ice.
Okay.
You could send a message like, "Hi, name. I've been following your work in field and wanted to endorse your skills in specific skills. I really admire your insights on topic and hope we can stay connected."
Okay, that feels approachable. It's not demanding their time or attention,
Right.
but it's showing that you're paying attention to their work and that you value their expertise.
Exactly. It's a subtle way to get on their radar and start building a connection.
Now, before we move on to the next level of engagement, initiating conversations,
Okay.
do you have any pro tips for making skill endorsements more impactful?
Absolutely. First, be specific.
Okay.
Instead of just clicking the endorse button, take a moment to personalize your endorsement. Mention the specific skills you're endorsing or how you've seen those skills in action.
So instead of just saying great skills,
Yeah.
you might say, "I was really impressed with your problem-solving skills in your recent project."
Exactly. It adds a touch of authenticity and shows that you're paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Second, don't overdo it.
Okay.
Stick to endorsing 2, 3 relevant skills.
Okay.
So it feels thoughtful, not random.
Okay.
And finally, tie it to their work.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge a specific post-project or interaction where they've demonstrated these skills.
Yeah.
It shows that you're not just clicking buttons.
Right.
You're genuinely impressed by their work.
Those are all great tips. It's about making those endorsements feel meaningful and genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Now are you ready to tackle the next challenge?
Bring it on. Let's talk about initiating conversations.
This is where having a few go-to message templates can be a real lifesaver,
Yes.
especially for introverts who might feel a bit anxious about sending that first message. Okay, I'm all ears. Give us the goods. What are some templates that introverts can use to reach out to recruiters, peers, or even industry leaders?
Let's start with reaching out to a recruiter. You could say, "Hi, name. I see that you specialize in recruiting for field. I'm currently exploring opportunities in specific area, and your expertise caught my eye. I'd love to connect and learn more about what you're looking for in candidates for type of role."
Okay, that's concise and specific. It clearly states your purpose without being overly demanding.
Exactly. Now, let's say you want to connect with a peer or a colleague whose work you admire. You can say, "Hi, name. I saw your recent post about topic, and it really resonated with me. I'm also working on related project or field, and would love to connect and exchange ideas."
I love that it focuses on finding common ground and expressing genuine interest. It's not just a generic, "I want to connect." It's showing that you've actually taken the time to learn about their work and that you're looking for a meaningful connection.
Exactly. And this approach works well for following up after a virtual event, too. You could say, "Hi, name. I attended event name and really appreciated your insights on specific topic. Your points about something specific," they said, "really made me think I'd love to connect and continue the conversation."
Okay, so it's all about being specific and showing that you were paying attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what about reaching out to someone for guidance or advice?
Okay.
That can feel really intimidating, especially for introverts.
It's definitely a next level move. Any tips on how to make that outreach less scary?
First, remember that most people are flattered to be asked for advice.
Okay.
It shows that you value their expertise and that you're genuinely interested in learning from them.
Mm-hmm.
Start by expressing admiration for their work and then ask a specific question related to their area of expertise.
Okay.
For example, you could say, "Hi, name. I've been following your work in field and find it incredibly inspiring. As someone looking to transition into new area, I'd love to hear your thoughts on specific question. Would you be open to a quick chat sometime?"
Okay, so we're expressing admiration, asking a specific question, and being respectful of their time.
Exactly. Another great way to initiate a conversation is by reacting to their content. If they shared a post or an article that aligns with your interests,
Mm-hmm.
you could say, "Hi, name. I just read your post about specific topic, and it really resonated with me. I especially liked your point about specific insight. I'd love to connect and learn more about your thoughts on related topic or field."
It's a great way to show that you're genuinely engaging with their work
Mm-hmm.
and that you're not just sending out generic connection requests. Now, let's talk about leveraging shared alumni status or common ground. It's like having a built-in conversation starter.
It is. You could say, "Hi, name. I noticed we're both alumni of university. It's always great to connect with fellow mascot team. I see you've been doing amazing work in field, and I'd love to learn more about your journey since graduating."
That's a great example. It instantly creates a sense of connection
Yeah.
and makes the outreach feel much less random. Now, do you have any overall pro tips for initiating conversations
Yes.
that will help introverts feel more confident and less awkward?
Absolutely. First, keep it brief.
Okay.
Aim for 2, 3 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
Respect their time and be clear about your purpose.
Okay.
Second, make it personal.
Right.
Reference something specific about them, their work, their posts, or even their background.
Okay.
Third, ask open-ended questions.
Mm-hmm.
This encourages dialogue and shows genuine interest.
Right.
Instead of saying, "Can I have advice?"
Yeah.
Try, "What advice would you give your younger self about navigating this field?"
Oh, I like that.
And lastly, add some warmth. Even a simple, "Hope you're doing well," can make a big difference in making your message feel less robotic.
Those are all great tips. They make the whole process feel much less intimidating. Now, what if they don't respond right away? Should you just give up?
Definitely not. It's common for people to be busy or simply miss messages.
Right.
Wait a week or two,
Okay.
and then follow up with a polite message.
Mm-hmm.
You could say, "Hi, name. I wanted to follow up on my previous message. I know you're busy, but I'd still love the chance to connect and hear your thoughts on topic." Thanks so much.
So persistence, but with politeness. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't want to bombard them with messages,
Yeah.
but a gentle follow-up shows that you're genuinely interested in connecting.
Okay, so we've talked about initiating conversations from the perspective of someone looking to connect with recruiters, peers, and industry leaders.
Right.
But now let's shift gears and talk about recruiters specifically.
Okay.
They're not just looking to connect.
Yeah.
They're looking to build a network that will help them find great candidates
Mm-hmm.
and build valuable relationships.
Right.
How can they use LinkedIn to grow and tend their network effectively?
You're right. Their approach is a little different. Recruiters need to be more strategic
Mm-hmm.
and purposeful.
Right.
They need to think like gardeners, carefully cultivating their LinkedIn ecosystem.
Okay, give us the gardening tips.
First, it's all about purposeful planting.
Okay.
They need to focus on building a targeted network that aligns with their industries, specialties, and hiring needs.
Mm-hmm.
This means using LinkedIn search filters to find professionals in specific industries, roles, or locations.
Yeah.
And when they send connection requests,
Yeah.
they need to personalize them, showing genuine interest in the individual, not just sending generic messages.
So quality over quantity, both in terms of who they connect with and how they approach those connections.
Precisely. Now, once those connections are made, it's all about consistent nurturing.
Okay.
This means staying visible and helpful, sharing valuable insights about hiring trends or industry news, celebrating their placements by showcasing their impact,
Right.
and engaging thoughtfully with their connections posts,
Okay.
especially those from candidates and clients.
So it's not just about promoting themselves,
Oh.
it's about demonstrating their value to both candidates and hiring managers,
Mm-hmm.
showing that they're actively engaged in the industry.
Exactly. And this ties into the idea of giving before asking, which we discussed earlier.
Mm.
Recruiters can build goodwill by proactively offering advice, endorsing skills, and highlighting others in their network.
Okay, so it's about being a resource, not just a recruiter.
Yes, it's about building relationships based on trust and mutual benefit. Now, effective follow-up is also crucial for recruiters.
I can imagine. It must be frustrating to send out messages and get radio silence in return.
It can be.
Oh.
So staying persistent, but always polite, is key.
Mm-hmm.
Recruiters can follow up on opportunities, reconnect periodically to keep those relationships warm,
Right.
and even offer support and encouragement when candidates are facing challenges in their job searches.
So follow-up is not just about the immediate hire.
Right.
It's about nurturing those relationships for the long haul.
Exactly. And recruiters can also expand their garden by building community,
Okay, how so?
by starting or joining LinkedIn groups, hosting virtual events, and encouraging referrals.
So it's about creating a thriving ecosystem of connections and opportunities.
Exactly. And of course, personal branding is essential for recruiters.
All right.
They need to position themselves as go-to experts in their fields.
Okay, so how do they do that? How do they stand out in a sea of recruiters?
It's about showcasing their expertise and their personality.
Okay.
They can consistently engage with thought leaders in their industries
Mm-hmm.
and show their human side by sharing personal insights
Okay.
or challenges they've overcome.
So it's about being both professional and relatable.
Exactly. Now, are you ready to dive into some actionable examples?
Do it.
Let's start with nurturing relationships. How can recruiters keep those connections warm, even if they haven't spoken to someone in months?
That's a great question. It's so easy to let those connections fizzle out,
Yeah.
especially when we're busy.
It is, but even a simple check-in message can make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like sending a friendly email to a friend you haven't seen in a while.
Okay, so what would that look like?
You could say something like, "Hi, name. I hope you're doing well. I was going through my connections and remembered your expertise in specific skill field. I just wanted to check in and see how things are going on your end. If you're open to it, I'd love to hear about any new projects or roles you're excited about."
That's a great example. It's not pushy, it's just expressing genuine interest and keeping the lines of communication open.
Exactly. Now let's talk about giving before asking.
Okay.
This is a powerful way for recruiters to stand out and build goodwill.
Okay, give us some examples of how recruiters can give before asking.
If they see a connection struggling with a specific challenge, they could send a message offering helpful advice or resources.
Okay.
For example, they could say, "Hi, name. I saw your post about specific challenge. I recently came across this article tool resource, and it immediately reminded me of your situation. Hope it helps. Let me know if you'd like to chat more about it."
That's a great example. It's not about trying to sell them something.
Right.
It's about genuinely wanting to help.
Exactly. Now let's talk about personal branding. What's a great way for recruiters to showcase their impact and build credibility.
I can see how that's important, especially in a field that's often seen as transactional.
It is. Recruiters can really stand out by sharing success stories.
Okay.
For example, they could post something like, "One of the best parts of being a recruiter is connecting incredible talent with exciting opportunities." Recently, I had the privilege of helping candidates first name land a role as a position at company. Watching them thrive and contribute their expertise has been so rewarding. Here's to more stories of talent meeting opportunity.
That's such a positive message. It highlights the human side of recruiting and showcases the positive impact recruiters can have on people's lives. Now, before we move on to the emotional side of LinkedIn, do you have any additional pro tips for recruiters looking to maximize their LinkedIn game?
Yes, a few things come to mind. First, remember that nurturing is an ongoing process.
Mm,
Don't just reach out once and then disappear.
right.
Use LinkedIn reminders or CRM tools to track your last interaction with connections.
Mm.
And aim for a gentle follow-up every 2-3 months to keep those relationships fresh.
Okay.
Second, be proactive about building a resource library.
Hmm.
Bookmark helpful articles, tools, or resources in your field,
Okay.
so you have them ready to share when the opportunity arises.
Yeah.
It saves time and adds value to your interactions.
Okay.
And finally, don't be afraid to showcase your personality and expertise.
Right.
Share posts that mix your professional insights with personal stories or reflections.
So it's about finding that balance between professionalism and authenticity.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears and talk about the emotional side of LinkedIn.
Okay.
A lot of users, both recruiters and job seekers, feel overwhelmed and intimidated by the platform.
Yeah.
They feel like they don't know what they're doing, and this often leads to inaction
Right.
or a lot of fumbling around in the dark.
You're right. It's a common feeling, and it's important to acknowledge those emotions.
Yeah.
Often the fear of judgment, rejection, or simply not knowing enough can paralyze us. We might tell ourselves, I'm not good at networking, or I don't have anything valuable to share. Right. But these are often just limiting beliefs that hold us back from reaching our full potential.
Exactly.
Right.
So how do we break free from these limiting beliefs and move from feeling overwhelmed to feeling confident and empowered on LinkedIn?
That's the million-dollar question.
It's a journey, but it's definitely achievable.
Okay.
Let's break it down into actionable steps.
Let's do it. I'm ready to get unstuck.
The first step is to understand the emotional roadblock.
Okay.
What are the specific fears or beliefs that are holding you back?
Mm-hmm.
Are you afraid of judgment,
Yeah.
rejection, or looking foolish?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe you lack the skills or expertise to stand out?
Okay, so we need to get real with ourselves and
Yeah.
identify those limiting beliefs.
Exactly. Once you've identified those roadblocks,
Okay.
you can start to challenge and reframe them.
Okay.
For example, if you're afraid of judgment, remind yourself that LinkedIn is a tool for connection, not perfection. It's not about impressing everyone. It's about authentically engaging with those who resonate with you.
Right. It's not about being perfect.
No,
It's about being ourselves.
exactly. And if you're afraid of rejection,
Yeah.
remind yourself that it's not personal.
Okay.
It's often just a matter of timing or fit.
Right.
The real win is taking action in the first place.
So instead of letting fear paralyze us,
Right.
we need to focus on taking those small steps, even if they feel uncomfortable at first.
Exactly.
Mm.
And if you feel like you lack the skills or expertise,
Yeah.
adopt a growth mindset.
Okay.
View every action as a learning opportunity.
Okay.
Mistakes are part of the process.
Right.
And every interaction is a chance to learn and improve.
I love that. It's not about being an expert right away.
Right.
It's about embracing the journey of learning and growth.
Now, once you started to shift your mindset,
Mm.
it's time to build a foundation of knowledge.
Okay.
Confidence comes from knowing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So take some time to learn the basics of LinkedIn. Explore the Help Center follow.
Welcome back to the deep dive. In the previous parts of this deep dive, we explored the challenges introverts often face on LinkedIn
Yeah.
and discovered ways to leverage your natural strengths to create a more fulfilling and
Mhm.
authentic experience.
Absolutely. We talked about crafting genuine connections, finding your unique voice,
Yeah.
and even learning from the masters
Mhm.
of networking, those extroverts who just seem to navigate LinkedIn effortlessly.
Right. And we even discovered how some philosophical principles,
Yes.
like Stoicism and Taoism and Ubuntu, can help us reframe our approach to LinkedIn
It's just true.
and make it feel less like a chore and more like a genuine opportunity for connection and growth.
It's amazing how those ancient philosophies offer such relevant insights into our modern digital world.
Right. It's like they were ahead of their time. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about the idea of success. What does it actually mean to be successful on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Is it about having thousands of connections, getting tons of likes and comments,
Right.
or
Yeah.
landing that dream job?
That's a great question, and it's one that I think a lot of people struggle with,
Yeah,
not just introverts.
right.
We often get caught up in comparing ourselves to others,
Yeah.
measuring our worth by external metrics,
Mm.
like the number of connections we have or the engagement we get on our posts.
It's so easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah,
You see someone with a massive following and you think, I'll never be that successful.
exactly. But the truth is, success on LinkedIn is a very personal thing.
Okay.
It's not about achieving some arbitrary external metric.
Right.
It's about defining what success means to you
I love that.
and then creating a LinkedIn experience that aligns with your goals and values.
So it's not about comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah.
It's about defining our own unique path to success.
Exactly. For some people, success might mean landing their dream job.
Right.
For others, it might mean building a strong network of like-minded professionals.
Mm.
And for others, it might mean simply feeling more confident and comfortable using LinkedIn as a tool for learning and growth.
So there's no one-size-fits-all definition of success on LinkedIn.
No.
It's about creating an experience that feels fulfilling and meaningful to you.
Exactly. And when you define success on your own terms,
Yeah.
you free yourself from the pressure of comparison and competition,
Right.
and you create space for a more authentic and enjoyable experience.
Okay, so how do we actually do that?
Yeah.
How do we define what success on LinkedIn looks like for us?
Well, it starts with getting clear on your goals.
Okay.
What are you hoping to achieve through LinkedIn?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to connect with recruiters and potential employers?
Yeah.
Build a network of thought leaders in your industry.
Mm.
Share your expertise and build a personal brand, or simply learn and grow professionally.
So we're going back to that idea of defining our why
Exactly.
that we talked about earlier in this deep dive.
Once you know your why,
Mm.
you can start setting goals that are aligned with your vision of success.
So for example, if your goal is to connect with potential employers, you might set a goal of reaching out to a certain number of recruiters each week, or attending a certain number of virtual networking events each month.
Exactly. And if your goal is to build a personal brand,
Yeah?
you might set a goal of posting a certain number of times each week,
Okay.
or engaging with thought leaders in your industry.
So it's about setting those SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Exactly. And once you have your goals in place,
Okay.
you could start creating a strategy for achieving them.
Right.
This might involve optimizing your profile, creating valuable content,
Mhm.
joining relevant groups, or simply engaging with others in a way that feels authentic
Right.
and aligned with your goals.
So it's about taking action and putting in the effort to achieve those goals.
Exactly. And remember, success on LinkedIn is not a linear journey.
Okay.
There will be times when you feel like you're making great progress, and there'll be times when you feel stuck or frustrated.
Yeah, that's true.
The key is to keep moving forward,
Right.
even if it's just one small step at a time.
I love that. It's about embracing the journey, not just focusing on the destination.
Now, as we wrap up this deep dive into LinkedIn for introverts,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a final thought, a reminder that you already possess everything you need to succeed on this platform.
Oh, okay.
Your thoughtfulness, your authenticity, your ability to build genuine connections. These are all valuable assets that can help you stand out and achieve your goals.
That's so encouraging to hear. So often we're told that we need to be more extroverted, more outgoing to succeed in the professional world.
Yeah, but the truth is introverts have so much to offer.
Yes.
We bring a unique perspective, a depth of thought,
Mm-hmm.
and a genuine desire for connection that can be incredibly powerful in the online world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into LinkedIn for introverts,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listener with a final challenge. A challenge to embrace your introverted strengths and create a LinkedIn experience that feels authentic, fulfilling, and aligned with your definition of success.
I love that.
Remember, you don't have to be someone you're not to thrive on this platform.
No.
Be yourself. Share your unique gifts with the world and watch amazing things happen.
And never underestimate the power of connection.
Yeah.
Even the smallest act of kindness. A thoughtful comment,
Mm-hmm.
a genuine compliment,
Yeah.
a willingness to share your knowledge.
Right.
It can have a ripple effect, creating a more supportive and collaborative online community for all of us.
That's a beautiful message to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into LinkedIn for introverts.
My pleasure.
We hope you found these insights valuable and
Yeah.
that you're feeling inspired to create a more fulfilling and successful LinkedIn experience for yourself.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep connecting.
I like that.